other techniques like that, kind of practical things that someone can do
Mm-hmm.
to either challenge their perception or feel better about their body, fat
Mm-hmm.
acceptance? What are some other practical things that someone can do? Like, you know,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, one of the things that we didn't include this at in the study at the time because I think this has evolved more since then. But one of the things we know from media literacy research is that I'm actually going to go back to something you mentioned earlier to give some context to this. So you had mentioned like in certain other countries, there's, bans, for example, on, well, there's bans on using models, for example, that are under a certain weight that might be, considered medically underweight. There's also other countries that are putting in regulations like you have to label something if it's been airbrushed so that people are aware of that. But what's interesting, I think there's a lot of things in our culture and the American culture that we could do similar to that. But it's interesting that those things I think are great efforts. But what we find is that they don't really like labeling it as having been airbrushed. It's good for us to know, but it's almost like the effect of the photo has already happened by the time then we're like thinking about the fact like, oh wait, that's not real, that's airbrushed. um, our brain just works too fast at just internalizing the picture. um, so one of the things that so it's less, my point with that is we found that it's less helpful um, to try to correct for what we've already seen, if that makes sense. And more helpful, especially for body image, to actually surround ourselves with images of more diverse bodies, for instance. So, like you mentioned, fat acceptance. One of the things, like I really tell the patients that I work with a lot, and when they're coming to really develop a healthy relationship with their body, is if they use Instagram, for example, like follow accounts of people of all different shapes and sizes, fashion bloggers, if they're into that are, of various sizes that don't sort of conform to one specific ideal. Because the influence, we know that images, whether we like it or not, are going to have that influence. So let's use that. It's almost like let's use that for the positive and internalize. If we're going to internalize media, let's internalize media that's really representative of reality and of diversity that we want to see.